The announcement that has been sweeping across headlines and social media feeds is now official. President Donald Trump has signed into effect a new program delivering $600 monthly rebate checks to millions of Americans. After weeks of speculation, debates, and anticipation, the policy has now been sealed into law, and payments are already being processed. This move is being hailed as one of the most direct attempts to provide financial relief to households struggling with rising living costs, mounting debts, and ongoing economic uncertainty. For many families, this marks the first time in years that tangible government assistance will arrive in the form of guaranteed, recurring payments, designed not as a one-off stimulus but as an ongoing measure. The context of this decision is rooted in the broader struggles Americans have been facing in recent years. Inflationary pressures, skyrocketing housing costs, medical bills, and the weight of student debt. While previous relief efforts focused on temporary one-time checks, unemployment benefits, or expanded credits, this new program aims to bring stability month after month. The rebate, pegged at $600 for eligible individuals, could mean a significant lifeline, covering essentials such as groceries, rent, and utilities. For a household of four, that's $2,400 a month, a substantial cushion against the rising tide of expenses. Critics, of course, are already voicing concerns. Some argue that the program could fuel more inflation by injecting additional spending power into the economy. Others suggest it may create dependency on government aid rather than addressing deeper structural issues in wages, housing, and healthcare. Yet supporters counter these points with urgency. Millions of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and for them, the immediate need to keep food on the table outweighs theoretical long-term risks. By directly transferring funds, the government is ensuring that assistance reaches households without bureaucratic delays or the complexities of tax credit systems. Financial analysts have been quick to calculate the ripple effects of such a program. For example, a single mother working two jobs might suddenly find breathing room to pay down debt or save for emergencies. A retiree struggling on fixed income could afford medication without cutting corners elsewhere. Local businesses may benefit as consumers gain additional spending power, stimulating demand for goods and services. The potential for community-level economic revitalization is a core argument made by advocates of this initiative. The idea is simple. When everyday Americans have more money, they spend it locally, creating a cycle of economic activity that benefits everyone. Politically, this move is also significant. Trump has always positioned himself as a champion of the working class, and this program plays directly into that narrative. By providing direct cash relief, he is sending a message that his administration is attuned to the pain points of ordinary families. This could prove a potent tool in reshaping public perception and garnering support among voters, particularly in swing states where economic anxieties are most pronounced. Critics may frame the program as a political maneuver, but its tangible benefits are hard to ignore. The mechanics of the program are also worth examining. Eligibility appears broad, encompassing most working and middle-class households, with upper-income thresholds phasing out the benefit. Payments are being delivered through direct deposit for those with bank accounts on file, while paper checks are being mailed to others. Reports suggest that the first wave of payments is already hitting bank accounts, sparking an outpouring of relief and joy across social media. Hashtags celebrating the checks have trended nationwide, with countless Americans sharing what the funds mean to them personally. Some describe the ability to finally catch up on overdue bills, while others speak of newfound hope for the months ahead. Economists are divided on the sustainability of such a program. Some warn that recurring payments of this scale will significantly add to the federal deficit, requiring either higher taxes down the road or deep cuts elsewhere in the budget. Others argue that the economic stimulation and reduced social strain could, in fact, offset costs by creating stronger growth and lowering reliance on other forms of welfare. This debate will no doubt intensify in the months ahead as policymakers and pundits analyze the results in real time. What cannot be denied, however, is the immediate impact. For a worker making $15 an hour, the $600 rebate represents the equivalent of 40 hours of work. It is essentially adding a week's worth of pay without the labor, offering time and flexibility that money alone cannot quantify. For families struggling to choose between paying rent and buying groceries, this program offers a reprieve from impossible choices. The emotional and psychological relief of knowing help is arriving regularly cannot be overstated. Public reaction has been mixed but leaning overwhelmingly positive. Many are celebrating Trump's decision as bold, direct, and necessary. Grassroots stories have emerged of families pooling their rebates to cover community needs, from paying off school lunch debts to helping neighbors with rent. At the same time, skeptics are raising red flags about long-term fiscal responsibility, questioning whether the nation can truly afford such an expansive program without consequences. The tension between compassion and caution is at the heart of the national conversation now unfolding. This policy also raises questions about precedent. If $600 monthly rebates prove popular and effective, will future administrations continue, expand, or replace them with similar programs? Could this usher in a new era of direct cash assistance as a standard feature of American governance? The debate over universal basic income has simmered for years, and with this move, Trump may have inadvertently thrust the concept into the mainstream. By tying relief to practical necessity rather than ideological theory, the conversation has shifted from abstract debate to lived reality for millions of people. As the program unfolds, the focus will inevitably turn to its implementation and efficiency. Past relief efforts have faced challenges ranging from delayed payments to fraud and technical glitches. Officials insist that safeguards are in place this time, citing lessons learned from previous stimulus rounds. Improved verification systems, updated IRS databases, and closer monitoring are all being touted as ways to ensure that funds flow swiftly and securely to the intended recipients. Still, no system is perfect, and stories will likely emerge of individuals waiting anxiously for checks or encountering bureaucratic snags. These moments will test public patience, but the administration seems intent on responding swiftly to minimize disruptions. One of the most profound elements of this program lies not in spreadsheets or budget analyses, but in the stories of ordinary Americans whose lives are touched directly. Imagine a young couple expecting their first child, unsure how they'll manage mounting medical bills alongside rent and food. A consistent $600 rebate transforms their planning, giving them the stability to prepare without as much fear. Consider the senior citizens on Social Security, many of whom have watched their purchasing power shrink as prices climb. For them, this infusion offers dignity and independence, freeing them from making painful trade-offs. These lived realities capture the heart of why the program resonates so deeply across the nation. The social fabric of communities may also experience a shift. Churches, nonprofits, and neighborhood groups that often scramble to meet emergency needs may find some relief as families are less reliant on donations for survival. With a little more breathing room, individuals might redirect energy into education, job training, or volunteering. In subtle but meaningful ways, a guaranteed monthly rebate could spark a ripple effect of empowerment and resilience. Instead of constantly reacting to crises, people can begin to plan ahead and invest in their futures. The psychological difference between scarcity and sufficiency is immeasurable, and it is here that the program may leave its most lasting imprint. On the political stage, reactions have been predictably divided. Supporters within Trump's base are celebrating the move as visionary, framing it as a fulfillment of promises to put America first and prioritize its citizens. Conservative critics, however, worry about ballooning deficits and government overreach. Across the aisle, some Democrats are cautiously supportive, noting that the plan aligns with long-standing progressive calls for direct relief, while others dismiss it as a strategic play designed to curry favor ahead of future elections. Regardless of ideological divides, the fact remains: millions of Americans will see their bank accounts grow, and the immediate relief is difficult to dismiss. Media coverage has amplified both sides of the debate. Financial networks analyze the impact on markets, small businesses, and consumer spending, while human interest stories dominate evening broadcasts. Images of families holding up rebate checks or sharing receipts of overdue bills paid off have gone viral, striking a chord that transcends policy arguments. Public sentiment, at least in the short term, appears to lean toward gratitude. The checks are not abstract policy, they are tangible, personal, and visible. This emotional resonance is a powerful force, one that shapes not only the economic, but also the cultural landscape of the nation. Yet the challenges ahead are real. Sustaining such a program will require ongoing funding, and questions about how to finance it remain unanswered. Some speculate about increased taxation on corporations or the wealthy, while others warn of deeper deficits being pushed onto future generations. There is also the looming question of inflation. While proponents argue the rebates target essentials rather than luxury spending, skeptics caution that adding more disposable income could drive prices higher. The delicate balance between relief and economic stability will remain a central tension as the program matures. In the broader historical context, this initiative may come to symbolize a turning point in how America approaches social safety nets. Just as Social Security and Medicare once redefined the role of government, these $600 monthly rebates could mark the dawn of a new era in public policy. By embedding direct financial assistance into the lives of millions, the nation may be experimenting, perhaps unintentionally, with a form of basic income. If it succeeds in reducing poverty, stabilizing families, and energizing local economies, it could become a model that outlives its political origin. If it fails, however, it could be remembered as an unsustainable gamble that left behind more problems than it solved. For now, the reality is simple. Money is arriving, households are breathing easier, and conversations around dinner tables are tinged with newfound relief. Parents can promise their children small joys without as much worry, workers can face their shifts with less dread of looming bills, and seniors can stretch their budgets with dignity. These small, everyday victories are the essence of what the program delivers, and they matter more than grand political theories. Behind every statistic is a human story, and in those stories, the $600 rebate checks are already rewriting chapters of hope and survival. Looking ahead, the durability of this policy will depend on results. If the checks succeed in creating stability, if they demonstrate measurable improvements in health, education, and economic activity, momentum will grow for their continuation. If, on the other hand, inflation worsens or deficits spiral, the backlash will be swift and unforgiving. The coming months will serve as a live experiment in governance, economics, and social responsibility. America will be watching closely, measuring not only the dollars and cents, but also the impact on the national spirit. In closing, the signing of this program represents more than just a political maneuver or an economic policy. It is a moment where government, in its most direct form, reaches into the lives of citizens with tangible relief. Whether celebrated or criticized, applauded or questioned, it is undeniably transformative. Millions are receiving checks now, millions more are preparing to adjust their budgets and lives, and the nation as a whole is grappling with what this bold step means for the future. For some, it is simply a chance to catch their breath. For others, it is a signal of what's possible when leadership chooses action over hesitation. And for the United States, it may well be the beginning of a new chapter in how it defines prosperity, security, and care for its people.